Hi there folks, welcome to Dunsy's Guitar World 2. Another guitar lesson today, something a little bit different. This is a guitar lesson for a Jeff Buckley song. Now I did a cover of this recently and it wasn't particularly popular, but I'm going to do the lesson because it's such a good tune. And you know, if I wanted to be popular I would probably do Iron Maiden songs, and this is just a great tune. So I'm going to do a bit of an intro to this lesson, maybe a bit of background to this version of the song, and then I will do the lesson after it. And this is very much how I would play the song, like if I was in a rehearsal room jam with some people and they said, "Do you know Eternal Life by Jeff Buckley?" And I would say, I cannot play it anywhere near as good as Jeff Buckley, but I can do this and I think it sounds okay. So this is very much, this is not how it's played on the album. This is a sketch of how I think you could play it, and you could get through a jam on this. You would not get in a Jeff Buckley tribute band, but you would be able to jam it. So I will go on to the lesson. I'll put the timestamp down below. You can go straight to the lesson from there on in. So Jeff Buckley, what a talent. You know, voice like an angel, songwriting, and his guitar playing as well. He just had everything. He was just such a great musician, and passed away way too young. He played in Edinburgh once, a La Belle Angele I think it was, and it sold out really quick. I didn't get a ticket, so I never had the privilege of seeing him live, unfortunately. Very sad. So yes, he gets a lot of credit for his singing and his songwriting, but perhaps not as much for his guitar playing. Now this song Eternal Life is from the sole studio album that he released when he was alive, and there is two versions of this. So the album version is very much more laid back, kind of acoustic-y, clean guitar-y, whereas this version, which is called the Road version, is way heavier. I mean, there's elements of metal in this. This could be one of my monster metal riffs. So the song is in standard tuning, and like I said in the intro, I will show you the parts as I hear them. I've watched loads of videos and they don't play the same thing twice. Jeff's band don't play the same thing twice. He does not play the same thing twice. It's just, you know, a million and one different ways to play it. So let's go on with the lesson. So we're in standard tuning. I'm using quite a rocky sound here. I think that's a Friedman Ambu, the gain's back a little. So the studio version seems to run in E and kind of just doing. So he's playing E, then D, then the octave E. But the live version, what he's doing is, or what it sounds like he's doing, he's going from the E as a pedal tone, like a palm muted, palm muted in parts, but then not in other parts. So the open E as a pedal tone, and then going over to this 4th fret of the A string, like a C sharp, and then playing the octave C sharp at the 6th fret of the G string. And when you're doing that, you're dampening the D string in the middle. So that's the sound we're getting. And I think he does this, well, like I said, it changes all the time, but this is the first sort of pattern. So you're only playing 2 notes really, those. And then the pedal tone is on the E string, and I'll play it slowly. It's hard to play slow because I'm used to playing it fast, but here's how I would play it. So that's how we play that. So it's the E as our pedal tone, and then over to the 4th fret of the A, 6th fret of the G, dampening the D string with your fingers, and that will take a bit of time to get used to. I'll change camera angle a couple of times on this just to help. So that's the only 2 notes we're playing, well, the bottom E string, and then 4 of A, 6 of D, and then when we're doing that we're kind of dampening the D string. And when you're playing that chord, sort of grab the notes. Now there is a lot of that in this song, so I will see if I can focus on my picking hand and what I'm doing with this. Try and focus, sorry. So that is the first part, and then they jam on that for a while. So normal service has been resumed. So they jam on that for a while, then it sounds like they start playing that full chord, or the power chord. So it's still the 4th fret of the A string, but then we add the 6th fret of the D and the 6th fret of the G. And we're going back to the E for the pedal tone, but now we're playing that power chord. And it really is pretty heavy when you listen to live versions. So the second part, to my ears, goes like this. So I think the main notes you're hearing are the 4th of the A, 6 of the D. That's so those two bits are quite similar. First one, we're just playing the octave chord, and then for the next ones, we're playing the power chord. So those two parts together. Now, that goes on for quite a while, and it's really quite difficult to keep that in time, but this is all about practice, getting a rehearsal room with your friends and just jam this out. Now the verse in the studio version, Jeff's playing a lot of open strings on this rather than full sort of chords. So the main chords, underlying chords, are C, G to an F. Now on the road version, he comes back and plays what sounds to me like this chord. So that how I would play this, see, the studio version is very much these open C, G. The live version, when you watch him, he's playing bar chords. So I think the C, he's playing 3 of A and then 5 of D. And playing the D and G, the G and B open maybe. And then over to G, and again keeping the top strings open. So there's a lot of open notes going on. Maybe for the C he's playing 5 of A, 3 of A and 5 of D and G, and like that, and then over to the G. Now on some of the live videos, instead of playing the F here, he goes up and plays the F bar chord, which will be 8 of A, 10 of D. Quickly plays that, and then back to this chord. The chord I hear, it sounds, and when you watch him playing, it sounds like this is what he's playing, like an open A, and then 5 of D and 6 of G. But I think he moves his finger, he maybe plays with his thumb over the top, or he'll play the 5th fret of the bottom E string. So that takes a little bit of time to get. Or so altogether the verse, play this slowly. So it's a big C chord with open strings. And again. Now sometimes on some of the videos I've watched, when he's playing the C to G, he'll play. So he's playing C, 3 of A, 5 of D and G, but then dropping the G down to 4. And then on the last one, on the first verse anyway, from most of the live versions, he'll play C to D. Okay, so that's what he's playing in the live versions, pretty much in the first verse. Now the bridge, it's a big G chord. To E. Now I think he's using the E as a pedal tone after he plays the chord, and the chords are playing against the pedal tone are 7 of A and D, and then 7 of A, 5 of D, and it's the same kind of rhythm as we've done before. So the first half of the bridge. So that's the first half of the bridge. Second half of the bridge, it sounds like the bass is going to an F sharp. But when I watch videos of Jeff, he's playing, some of them anyway, he's playing this D octave chord, so 5 of A, 7 of G. And then to an A. So the bridge, I think, goes about like this. I'll play that again. Then after the bridge, we're into the intro with the C sharp power chord. He only plays that twice. Now the second verse is different in the live version from the first one. Sounds to me like it goes like this. Now he does that actually on the studio version. So what the whole thing is, the second verse, first part of it, is these octave chords. So it's E, 7 of A, 9 of G, dampening the middle string, and then down to D, which is 5 of A, 7 of G, and then up to the F power chord, which is 8 of A and 10 of D, if that makes sense. So this is, I'll come out of the bridge into the intro to the second verse, and then the first part of the second verse. Plays that again. Then I think he goes back into playing it the same way he does in the first verse. Into another bridge. And then we're going to a series of arpeggiated chords. Sounds to me like 4 of A, 2 of D, G open. And then move the 4 of the A down to 3 of the A, keep the same 2 on the D and G open. That first part. Then over to an F sharp. Now I think he's just playing 2 of the bottom E, 4 of A, 4 of D, and then the open G, and it sounds like he's maybe hitting the 3rd fret of the G, so it's E. So it's E open, B open, and then 3 of G on, but we're playing the bottom of the F sharp minor chord first. A bit like that. So far in that arpeggiated bit we have. Then move that whole thing down to an F, but I think this time he's playing 1 of E, 3 of D and G, and I think it's just the E and B open at the top. To a B power chord. To A. So I'll play that whole arpeggiated part again. Then after that arpeggiated part, we're going to this bit before the song breaks down in the middle. So the bit sounds like it's 7 of A and 9 of G, and then 9 of G goes to 8 of G, back to 9 of G. And it's just like those octave chords, but it goes like this. So again, I think there's a lot of open strings kind of droning away there. So the arpeggiated part into that bit to the middle of the song goes like this. And that is how I think the first half of Eternal Life, the Rode version by Jeff Buckley, goes. As I said, this is very much like a sketch of the parts that I would play if I was asked to jam along with that. That's the parts I would play. The lead work that goes on in it, I mean, Jeff's band are just fantastic, you know, everybody's great musicians. So there's lots of other stuff going on, but that, to me, would be the basics of how I would get through that song jam session. So I do hope that was helpful. That's just halfway into the song. There's another full half with even more in it, but I thought I would just put this out there because I couldn't find a lesson for the Rode version of this, which is very, very different from the studio version. Anyway, as ever folks, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing you content on Dunsy's Guitar World. Cheers for now.